Welcome to the deep dive, everyone. Today we're going to Vero Beach, Florida.
Okay.
Usually peaceful,
Right.
but this time it's the backdrop for, well, a chilling home invasion and murder. It really shook the community, this case.
Sounds intense.
Yeah, and we're going to try to make sense of it all using an episode of the true crime podcast Anatomy of Murder.
Okay.
Through that episode, we'll uncover the story of Brian Simpson, a devoted family man. Sadly, his life was cut short in his own home.
Oh man. So what makes this case stand out, among all the true crime stories out there?
Well, it unfolds like a puzzle.
Okay.
It's not just about the big shocking events, but also about those little details that you wouldn't think are important. They become crucial clues as the story goes on.
Ah, I see. I see. Like those hidden pieces you don't notice at first.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the story begins with a really frantic 911 call.
Mm.
A neighbor of the Simpsons reports these loud popping noises and some banging coming from the house.
Popping noises. Like at first they don't even know if it's gunshots, right?
Yeah, exactly. That initial ambiguity. It's common in these kinds of cases.
I bet.
Just imagine you're the first responder on the scene. You're walking into a situation where you don't even know what you're dealing with.
Yeah, talk about tense.
Right. And as the episode progresses, we get these really intriguing details. An American flag, and it's found beneath Brian's body.
Wow.
There's a lack of shell casings at the crime scene and a small bathroom window. It seems that was the only way in or out for whoever did this.
So those are the details, right, that make you go, wait, hold on, what's going on here?
Yeah.
They seem random, these little things, but then as the investigation, progresses, they start to fit together, right?
Absolutely. And you're hooked. So the episode describes the police response and focuses on the emotional weight of this case, especially for Lieutenant Matt Harrelson, the lead investigator.
Yeah.
He's the one who had to deliver the news to Brian's family.
Oh, man. That's got to be tough.
Those moments are never easy. You can be, a seasoned investigator, but delivering news like that to a wife and children,
It's got to be one of the hardest parts of the job.
it really emphasizes the human cost of these crimes. The kind of thing that's easy to forget when you're, focused on solving the puzzle.
Absolutely. Like a good reminder, right? Behind every crime scene, you've got a story of loss and grief.
Yeah. So investigators start processing the crime scene, and right away, they're faced with these confusing findings. There are no shell casings,
Huh.
which points to a revolver, probably.
Okay.
And there are two sets of shoe prints. So that means at least two intruders.
At least two, yeah.
And then, get this, only the master bedroom was ransacked. It's weird.
Really? Just the master bedroom?
Yeah. It suggests that maybe the intruders were looking for something specific, or maybe they knew the layout of the house.
Like they were interrupted or something. Or maybe they changed their plans while they were in there.
Lots of twists already. The episode details how the investigation unfolded. They created composite sketches
Right.
based on eyewitness accounts, and they found two stolen bikes potentially used by the intruders.
Interesting. It's like, we have all this technology, right? DNA, facial recognition, but they still rely on community tips
Yeah.
and old-fashioned detective work.
And then we get to the autopsy report. It reveals this really strange detail about the fatal wound.
Okay.
The bullet, a .22 caliber, didn't travel in a straight line. It ricocheted off of Brian's clavicle before severing his aorta.
Wow, so it bounced around.
Yeah.
That's got to make the ballistics much more difficult.
Oh, absolutely. It's not just about matching the bullet. It's about figuring out, the trajectory and the forces involved.
Yeah, I see.
So, it's just a reminder of how fragile life really is.
Yeah.
But amid all these details, there's a turn in the investigation. A woman comes forward. She's got a tip. A motorcycle speeding away on the night of the murder. Yeah. And remember those stolen bicycles they found under the bridge?
Uh-huh.
That starts to, paint a picture, an
Yeah.
escape route,
So it gives them something concrete, something to go on.
Yeah. And things escalate quickly from there. 4 days later, another 911 call. Two individuals matching the sketches spotted near the Simpson home.
Really? They went back to the area.
Yeah.
Risky move if you know the cops are looking for you.
This suggests maybe they had unfinished business or needed to retrieve something they left behind.
That raises the stakes.
So these two individuals, Henry Jones and Darius Robinson, they're apprehended.
Okay.
Jones is linked to the motorcycle. But Robinson, he refuses to cooperate.
Oh, so you have one suspect tied to the crime and the other's a wild card.
Exactly. And the search warrants that followed were really revealing. At Jones's apartment, a range bag,
Uh-huh.
filled with items from the Simpson home and linked to a previous burglary.
Oh, wow. The range bag, like a smoking gun,
Yeah.
literally ties him to both crimes.
But the real aha moment comes from a photo.
A photo?
Yeah. On Jones's phone.
What kind of photo?
An accidental photo. The kind you take when you bump your phone. But it's time-stamped and geolocated to the bridge on the night of the murder.
Talk about bad luck.
Caught by his own pocket, right?
Technology, huh?
And it wasn't the only digital breadcrumb. A search of the motorcycle uncovered bullets, gloves, and blanks.
So they were prepared for something.
.22 caliber bullets.
Same as the one that killed Brian.
Exactly. So Jones is practically caught red-handed.
But what about Robinson?
His story is where things take an unexpected turn.
Okay, now I'm really interested.
What happens next?
Well, I guess we'll have to find out.
It's a good place to pause.
Yeah.
We'll be right back. More on this case on the Deep Dive. We left off with Henry Jones and that range bag and the photo on his phone.
Right, but Robinson, his accomplice, he's still a mystery.
So what makes him talk?
Why, sometimes it's not fancy techniques, it's human connection. You know what I mean?
Oh.
Lieutenant Thornton, the officer, he knew Robinson from the community, and he reaches out to Robinson's mother, has a real heart-to-heart with her.
Wow. So powerful, right. A personal touch can be more effective than any interrogation.
It's about empathy. Instead of treating the mother like she's in the way, Thornton, he saw her as an ally.
It worked. Robinson confesses.
It does.
Amazing how a conversation with his mom changed the whole case.
Yeah.
What did Robinson say?
His confession, it sheds light on what happened, and it's not what you'd expect.
Really?
Jones planned to rob a house, but they ended up at the Simpsons just by chance.
So a random target.
Yeah.
Makes the crime even more senseless.
Yeah. Not personal, not targeted, just a burglary gone wrong. Robinson says they panicked when Brian came home.
Oh, no.
Brian heard noises and grabbed an American flagpole to defend himself.
Just trying to protect his...
It's full of patriotism,
Right.
Becomes a weapon in this desperate fight. Tragic, really.
What happened next?
Robinson says he got out through the bathroom window. While he heard gunshots, Jones stepped over Brian's body to escape. They stole bikes to get back to their motorcycle.
And they got rid of the gun, right?
They did while they were running away.
So many details. But Robinson's confession, even though he didn't shoot, it gives them a lot to work with.
Absolutely. His account of what happened after the shooting, it backs up other evidence, strengthens the case against Jones.
Robinson's cooperation, it led to a plea deal, right?
Yeah, he testifies against Jones in exchange for less time. This is where the justice system gets complicated.
Yeah, I can see that. He was part of it, but he's also helping bring the murderer to justice.
Right. Is it fair? Is this really justice? Some would say Robinson deserved more no matter what. But for the prosecution, convicting Jones, the shooter, that was the priority.
And they needed Robinson's testimony for that.
They did. Plea bargains, they're a tool. They let prosecutors focus on certain outcomes. In this case, making sure the person who killed Brian faced the consequences.
Okay, makes sense. So the trials, what happened?
Well, Jones and Robinson's trials, they're very different. Jones is convicted, but then there's a retrial.
A retrial, why?
A legal technicality.
Oh, wow. Imagine being Brian's family to go through all that again.
I know. Reliving the trauma. Knowing the person who killed your loved one might go free. It's the legal system, sometimes.
It makes you wonder if it's really about justice or just technicalities.
Yeah, the road to justice isn't always straight. It's full of twists and turns.
But in the end, justice was served, right?
In this case, yeah. Jones is found guilty again. 2 life sentences, one after the other. Robinson, because of the deal, gets 10 years.
2 different outcomes for the same crime.
It shows how nuanced justice can be. The system tries to weigh the crime, the role of each person, their cooperation, when deciding on the punishment.
So the episode goes beyond the crime itself. We see the effects and the legal process, right?
Exactly. The impact of a crime goes beyond the victims. It touches families, communities, the whole justice system.
A lot to process. We got closure legally, but there are still some questions.
And those questions are what make this case so interesting.
What kind of questions are we left with?
Yeah.
So many questions, right? What really sticks out to you after looking at this whole thing?
For me, it's those chance encounters. How these little tiny details, they can change everything. Like, what if Jones and Robinson picked a different house that night?
Yeah.
What if that photo on the phone, the accidental photo, hadn't happened?
Right.
What if Lieutenant Thornton hadn't talked to Robinson's mother the way he did? It makes you think.
It really does. It's like, life is so unpredictable. One small choice and everything's different.
Like a butterfly effect.
Yeah. The episode also, talks about plea bargains, right?
Yeah.
Is it really fair to let someone off easy when they were involved in a murder?
Tough question, even if their testimony helps convict the main guy,
Right.
It's something people have debated forever. Plea bargains, they're necessary. Prosecutors need them to make the system work.
Yeah.
But is everyone held accountable? Are things truly balanced? It's hard to say.
The pursuit of justice, it's not always clear-cut.
No, it's not. And this case really shows that, all the gray areas.
And then there's the human cost.
Yeah.
Not just for Brian's family, but for the investigators, too.
Yeah.
Lieutenant Harrelson, he said he can't unsee the things he's seen. Powerful stuff.
We focus on the evidence, the legal stuff, but it's easy to forget the people involved.
Right.
The detectives, the first responders, the lawyers, they carry this weight with them long after the case is closed.
It's not just a story. These are real lives changed forever.
Yeah. We have to remember that. The pain, the grief, it's real.
This deep dive has been, intense. We saw the crime, the investigation, the legal battles. What's the biggest thing we learned today?
For me, it's how important the human element is. It's those little details, the chance meetings, the ripple effects on everyone involved. This case was tragic, but it reminds us that even in the dark, there's hope. And there's that drive for justice, even if it's not perfect.
This case really makes you think, It shows us that crime can happen anywhere. And it leaves us with these questions that linger. Like, what if Brian hadn't come home early? Would this just be another unsolved burglary? Or was it fate that stepped in? It's scary to think about. It makes you realize how fragile life is and how we never know what's coming next. Thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive. We'll see you next time with another case. And until then, stay curious.